Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. If you are still participating in NaNoWriMo, congratulations, you are almost at the finish line. Like seriously, you have 2 days left. There's some serious glare right now. And also, we are dog sitting for a friend, so you're gonna hear a lot of movement probably throughout this video because the dogs are just kind of playing together in the living room. We're just gonna keep trucking along because, you know, if anything, I feel like this NaNoWriMo series has taught me that there may not be a perfect time to film, and that's okay. So if you've been keeping track for the past 30 or so days, you know that I've been posting a video every single day in November, minus Saturday and Sunday of this past week. I did not post a video once we got back from Cancun. It was just a little bit too much for me, but I wanted to finish out the month strong, so I will be posting today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Wait, tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow is my birthday, so that's really exciting. As you can see, we already got our Christmas tree up. The Christmas cheer is just abounding in our home. So that's enough of a quick little update. Today I want to talk about my reading habits, which I've done several. I feel like I've done at least 2 videos, maybe more, all about my reading habits because I think it's a really interesting topic to see how different readers read. We're all very different. We have different preferences, obviously, in what we read, but we also have different preferences in how we consume those books. I don't think that I've done this tag. It seems like a tag that I would have done though. But anyway, I'm gonna leave the creator of the tag down below. I'll leave a link to the original video. And yeah, let's just get into it. Number 1 is, do you have a certain place in your home for reading? I guess specifically devoted to reading. And for this one, I had to think about it for a second because I feel like there are a lot of places in my home that I like to read. I'm definitely a homebody, so I prefer reading at home, although I do like to read at coffee shops and things like that. But I would say I love to read on my front porch when the weather is nice. And I also, this couch right here is probably where I do most of my reading. I would love to read in bed more than I do, but I fall asleep if I'm laying in bed. So this is usually where I do most of my reading. Number 2, bookmark or random piece of paper. This is one of those questions that makes me think about how my reading habits have changed over the years, because I would say pre-BookTube, I was definitely the piece of paper kind of person, or maybe even the dog-eared pages kind of person. I know, gasp. But since starting BookTube, I have accumulated so many cute bookmarks from book subscription services and I don't know, book depository. I've received so many awesome bookmarks that I end up using them because they're so pretty, I can't not use them. But if I've started a new book and I'm feeling particularly lazy, and the bookmark is maybe in another room and I'm lounging out here, I will definitely use whatever is closest to mark my spot. My phone, I've used my phone a lot. I know it's not the best method, but it's what I do. Number 3, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop at a certain chapter or a certain amount of pages? For me, I'm definitely one of those people who will just stop at any point. I have no issue with stopping in the middle of a chapter. If it's a really, really good, compelling book, then I may want to finish the chapter. But for the most part, yeah, I don't really care. And I wish that I was one of those people who is more driven to finish the chapter or a certain amount of pages. I feel like if I'm being extra intentional about how many books I want to read that month, I may map out, you know, how many pages I need to read in a day to finish that book. But usually I feel like if I'm just stopping to read, like to have lunch or whatever, I'll just stop wherever. And I'm also one of those people who, even if the book is really, really good, if I'm reading at night and I get sleepy, I will just fall asleep. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the chapter. I know that there are readers out there who are kind of neurotic about finishing a certain amount of pages or finishing the end of a chapter. And I have to say, like, I do wish that my brain worked that way. I feel like I would get a lot more reading done. I guess I'm just easily distracted, being a mood reader for one, and also just being easily distracted. I don't read when I'm stressed. I read to relax. So if there are other things going on in the room that I'm in while I'm reading, it's really easy for me to just put the book down. Number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? I don't really eat. I mean, I like to take eating breaks while I'm reading. Like, I'll put the book down and snack on something. But I will drink coffee or tea, definitely, while I'm reading. In fact, I would say most of the time when I'm reading, I have to have a beverage of some kind. Number 5, multitasking, music or TV while reading. I would say no. I would say if the music is instrumental or ambient noise, then that's sometimes really nice. But for the most part, yeah, I'm just too easily distracted. But I will say, in marriage, there are times when I just really want to read a book, but I also want to be around Aaron and just spend time with him, just kind of be in the same room. And there have been times when he wants to watch a movie that I'm not at all interested in, and I will just sit beside him and read while he watches the movie. And sometimes I get sucked into the movie, but if it's a good book, it can usually hold my attention. Number 6, one book at a time or several at once. This is another interesting question, thinking about my reading habits and how they've changed, because when I first started BookTube, I would have told you that I read several books at once. That's just how I did my reading. I like to have a lot of options as a mood reader for what I was going to pick up next. And then I kind of went through this transition where I was only reading a book at a time, and I think it was because I was more goal-oriented with how many books I wanted to read in the month. But lately, in the past like 2 months or so, maybe even 3 months, I've been reading at least 2 or 3 books at once. So I wouldn't say it's something that helps me read faster. I wouldn't say it's something that, you know, helps me to finish more books. I actually think that reading one book at a time has its advantages in that sense. But if I get stuck on a book, like if I'm feeling like I'm in a reading slump and I'm only reading one book at a time, it really does stop my reading for a while. So I feel like reading several books at once is probably the safe bet for mood readers. Otherwise, we would just be in a perpetual reading slump. Number 7, reading at home or everywhere. I would have to say my preferred reading space is definitely at home, but I can read and do read everywhere. I think it's one of those things that a lot of serious, voracious readers would say is a helpful thing, to have a book on you at all times. There have been times when Aaron and I have gone out to run some errands and we've had to wait in line or wait on something, and I'll just pull out my book, and he's always so jealous. Like, why didn't I remember to bring a book? You're always so prepared. And I love when that happens, and I do get a lot of reading done when that happens. Side note, today I had an appointment and I had to wait over an hour and I did not have a book with me. So sometimes that happens and it's so frustrating. I need to start having books on my phone. I don't really read on my phone, but that's something I should look into, because there's so many times when I'm like waiting on something, just browsing on my phone. Number 8, reading out loud or silently in your head. I definitely read silently in my head. I'm trying to get Aaron into reading together out loud more, because we kind of did that a little while ago, and then it's just so hard to both be in the same kind of headspace, like to actually want to read at the same time and read the same book at the same time, and then to have that time in general to set aside. Yeah, it feels like it feels like the stars have to align in order for that to happen. But I do like listening to stories out loud, which is why I love Audible books so much. But yeah, I don't typically read out loud like when I'm by myself or anything. Number 9, do you read ahead or even skip pages? I definitely don't do this, and I think this is why I'm such a slow reader, because I know some readers like to skim passages even. I think it's the editor brain. I have to read word by word. Unless it's a super boring book and I'm just trying to get through it for some reason, but I can't honestly think of a reason that I would ever do that, because I'm definitely okay with DNFing books. If I feel like it's not worth my time, life is too short, and I just put it down. So yeah, I don't feel like I ever do that really. Number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I used to be one of those people who was fine with breaking the spine, and then I started getting all of these beautiful, beautiful books once I started my BookTube channel, and it makes me so, I don't know. If it's a brand new, beautiful book, I hate breaking the spine. If it's a secondhand copy that I bought somewhere and it's already well loved, I obviously don't mind at all. But it's just funny because Aaron borrowed the Mistborn, the first book, The Final Empire, And it's a pretty chunky book. It's kind of impossible not to break the spine, but I was like, if you break the spine, we will have a problem. And he, bless him, tried so hard. I feel like once the spine breaks though, I'm okay. It's never as bad as I think it's gonna be. It's like I want it to be in pristine condition, and then as soon as something happens to it, I'm kind of like, all right, it's fine. Nothing terrible happened. Everything is gonna be okay. Number 11, do you write in your books? Again, I feel like there's this full circle kind of thing happening with my reading habits, because I started out definitely writing in my books, annotating, and then I started my booktube channel, got all these pretty books, and felt like I couldn't do any of that. I used post-it notes. And now I still use post-it notes, but I've started highlighting in my books, which I know like some readers are like, what are you doing? But it's just, I don't know, it's something that I've started to enjoy, especially with buddy reads, because I can go back and look at what I've read and see what passages were really beautiful or what quotes I loved. And I find that it makes for a great conversation for other people who've read that book, or you know, passing that book along to somebody. It's kind of nice to show what I enjoyed about the book, what words or phrases or passages stood out to me for whatever reason. I'm trying not to get so into the highlighting that I color coordinate. Like I don't want to get to the point where I'm only using a pink highlighter for quotes and I'm only using a blue highlighter for character things that I like about characters or something like that. I don't want to be that particular, because I can never find the highlighter that I want to find at the right time. I need to simplify the accessories that I have when I'm reading, because it's nice to just whip out your book and read and not have to worry about having all these other tools at your side. Number 12 is, who do you tag? And I feel like I'm so terrible at doing tags because I never think ahead to who I want to tag. So I don't know who's done this video already. It's been around for a while, I think. So if you'd like to do this tag, I would officially tag you. But I will also try to leave some links down below of channels of people who maybe haven't done this tag who might be interested. So make sure to check that out to see if I tagged you specifically. I think that's it. Also, I wanted to say for the last day of this NaNoWriMo video every day in November series that I'm doing, I'm planning to do a Q&A. So it's going to be everything from reading to life stuff to work stuff. If you want to ask me editing or writing questions, if you want to ask me whatever, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will film that probably tomorrow or the next day. So yeah, please leave some questions because I'm kind of nervous. No one's gonna ask me questions. I also asked people on Twitter if they wanted to leave me questions. So you can follow me on Twitter at Molly Reads. And you can respond to that tweet if you want to ask a question that way too. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment. Also, I'd love to know, do you have a quirky reading habit of any kind? Like I said, I'm really interested in the habits that readers develop and how they change over the years. So anyway, yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.